Thanks so much for joining us for CBN News Today. I'm Ephraim Graham.
And I'm Charlene Israel. There is growing desperation in the Philippines today, and that desperation is leading to new tragedy. Authorities say 8 people were crushed to death during a looting rampage as thousands stormed a rice warehouse. Relief supplies are on the way, but getting them to the survivors is the challenge. Help, massive help is on the way, but will it arrive in time? In many places, survivors are taking matters into their own hands, loading up trucks to deliver food to the starving. It's a critical need.
We can survive without these houses. It's okay for us to anywhere, we can sleep anywhere, but we need food, only food.
The other basic need, water. Some have even resorted to straining it through their shirts. Relief is starting to trickle in. As you can see, CBN Disaster Relief delivering boxes of food right off the plane. But flying is one of the top challenges. The airport in Tacloban still has no radar or working air traffic control system. Planes must circle above and take turns using the runway. Even after landing, there's often a logjam on the roads, which are too damaged or flooded to pass.
Some of the challenges we've had so far with the situation on the ground is purely to do with logistics and planning and trying to get support services up and running.
On the ground, bodies lie unattended in the roads and everywhere, adding to the misery.
It's just death and devastation everywhere. People need help.
So far, authorities have confirmed over 2,200 deaths and 3,600 injuries. The president now says the final death toll could be 2,500. Far less than the original 10,000 deaths feared.
Many Filipino families here in the U.S. are not sure when they'll hear from family members in the affected areas. It is a painful waiting game, and it could last indefinitely. Heather Sells has the latest.
For the 3 million Filipinos in the U.S., there's tremendous concern about the devastation in their homeland.
I feel like I'm crying, honestly. You know, I felt so bad. I wish we can do something.
I feel sad about my countrymen.
It's perhaps most painful for those still unable to reach their family, like Frankie Tripoli. Even as he runs his seafood business, his thoughts are with his sister and brother, who live in hard-hit Leyte.
I just keep watching the news, and then I try to call, but no, you cannot reach it.
I have my family there. My parents are there, and 2 brothers.
For Edgar Buna, there's tears as he worries about his family's safety and well-being. There's been no word from them since the typhoon struck.
I'm just hoping that I can contact them, and heard their voice.
It's a wait-and-see game. That's what's so disheartening. There is not a solution for that. We're Facebooking, we're Twittering.
Naomi Astaris is organizing donations from some 40,000 of her countrymen in Southeast Virginia. She's also trying to reach friends in the Philippines, and she's taking the advice of a close friend on the ground there who she has heard from.
I had a philanthropic friend that's out there, and she's such a humanitarian, and she goes, Naomi, just keep on praying, because that's all we can do at this point is pray.
For now, the praying and waiting and news watching continue as Filipinos here hope for the best. Reporting in Virginia Beach, Heather Sells, CBN News.
Former President Bill Clinton is weighing in on the Obamacare debacle. He says President Obama should honor his promise to the American people when it comes to being able to keep their health care plans if they like them.
I personally believe, even if it takes a change in the law, the president should honor the commitment the federal government made to those people and let them keep what they got.
President Clinton also said Obamacare's botched website rollout is a big problem, but he said the country is better off with the law than without it.
Sign-ups for the insurance through Obamacare's federal exchanges apparently are falling far short of their goals, according to a healthcare research and consulting firm, Avalier Health. Only about 50,000 people have signed up so far. The Obama administration's target for October was 500,000. The system needs more people to enroll to make Obamacare work.
It appears the president will have to take back another promise about Obamacare. He said problems with the healthcare.gov website will be solved by the end of November. But now the Washington Post reports that's probably not going to happen. The Post quotes an official with knowledge of the project who says the website most likely won't be working by month's end. Problems are proving more stubborn than anticipated, and workers have only fixed about 60% of the issues they've taken on. The official said the site begins breaking down when 20 to 30,000 users sign on at the same time. It is supposed to be able to handle twice that number.
The U.S. Supreme Court has rejected an appeal to revive Oklahoma's ultrasound abortion law. The law required women seeking abortions to have an ultrasound exam, then view the image while the provider described the fetus. A state court struck down the law. The justice's decision means that ruling still stands. Last week, the court also rejected the state's petition to reinstate a separate law that restricts drug-induced abortions.
An initiative to ban late-term abortions is bringing Albuquerque voters to the polls early. More than 25,000 citizens have cast ballots on the citywide measure that would ban abortions after 20 weeks. Thousands more are expected to vote by the end of the week. Political observers say the early turnout is a positive sign for conservatives. But Planned Parenthood and the ACLU are said to have pumped money into a campaign to defeat the measure. Election Day is Tuesday. The vote is being called historic because it gives people a say on an abortion issue.
Doctors in the U.S. are urging more people to consider taking statin drugs to lower cholesterol. The nation's leading heart organizations released new guidelines Tuesday that will reshape the use of statins. Patients on the meds will no longer need to lower their cholesterol levels to specific numeric targets monitored by regular blood tests that had been recommended for decades. Under the new advice, 33 million Americans would meet the threshold to consider taking a statin. That's 44% of men and 22% of women. Still, some doctors say only a small percentage actually need the drug. Dr. Steve Sinatra says for many statin users, the risks outweigh the gains.
The side effects of statins are grossly underreported. I mean, grossly underreported. Doc, I can't get out of a chair anymore. I have weakness in my thighs. I can't play doubles tennis. I walk the dog and I'm vitally exhausted. These are statin side effects. However, a lot of the doctors or the patients think they're getting older. They're not getting older. These are statin side effects.
Experts say it is unclear how much the new guidelines will change clinical practice.
Arctic cold has brought snow and dangerous conditions across parts of the U.S., even though the official start of winter is still more than a month away. A blast of Arctic air is sweeping across the northeastern region of the nation, causing the first widespread accumulation of snow in some states. From the Dakotas and southern Minnesota to western Pennsylvania, residents woke up to roads covered with ice and snow. Those living along the Great Lakes saw about 6 inches coat the ground near New Buffalo, Michigan. This early wave of freezing temperatures is a reminder it is time to prepare.
Just a little bit of snow like this gets people thinking, and we sold quite a bit of salt this morning here and a bunch of snow shovels.
We got to make sure we got all our clients lined up, trucks hooked up, all the plows hooked up, go through and make sure everything's right.
Even places with no snow warnings yet are taking precautions. In Lexington, Kentucky, road crews are already pre-treating bridges and overpasses.
We do this time of year every year just to get our people back into the routine of knowing what their salt equipment is doing and how to use it.
And although the coldest temperatures are expected from Washington, D.C. northward to New York City and Boston, people as far south as North Carolina, where there are frost warnings, are stocking up on wood for their fireplaces.
Got pop splitting on the splitter. The boss is out pulling more trees right now, and it seems to be a high demand because I guess everybody thinks we're going to have a really bad winter.
But this chilly weather won't stick around for long. Temperatures are expected to get warmer as the weekend approaches. Some Midwestern states are also experiencing below freezing temperatures, and cold weather will be felt as far south as Texas, the Florida Peninsula, and the Keys.
A recent pause in global warming could last for another couple of decades and maybe longer. The world's average surface temperature has not gone up since the late 1990s. The London Daily Mail reports that new research shows that natural cycles have played a major role in rising and falling temperatures. that could explain why the predictions of rising temperatures from man-made global warming have been wrong.
Coming up, millions are losing their health insurance. Popular political analyst Charles Krauthammer weighs in on the disaster of Obamacare.
Hi, my name is Breda. I'm just your typical 9-year-old. I love singing, dancing, reading, discovering the simple truth. My grandpa says you're never too young or old to learn the value of a dollar. He taught me the true value of this paper dollar. You see this little gold coin? It says $1 on it. But guess what? That was a long time ago. Today, this gold dollar is worth over 100 paper dollars. This paper dollar is now only worth 1 penny compared to America's former money, the gold dollar. My grandpa says the only money worth saving today is real money, gold or silver coins. He's pretty smart. How our paper dollars lost their value, he says. It's all explained in a new book, The Great Debasement. It's easy and fun to read. If you call the number on the screen, I will send you a copy totally free. Next time, I will explain the simple truth about money.
Help! If an emergency happened right now, you can have help at the push of a button with Medical Alert.
Remember when I took that fall, Mary?
Oh, yes, that was terrible.
Yes, it was.
Help!
And I thought, what if you hadn't been there? I ordered my Medical Alert the next day.
I can't describe how safe I feel now with my Medical Alert. You didn't know I was wearing it, did you?
Medical Alert is easy to install, waterproof, and covers you inside your home and out.
It helps me feel safe from fires, break-ins.
And of course, a Medical Alert. And if you don't have a home phone, don't worry. They have that covered.
There's always help at the push of a button. Don't wait till you need it.
Get Medical Alert for less than $1 a day. There are no long-term contracts. Order now and get your second button free. Call for your free brochure.
For your free Medical Alert system with second button free, call 800-575-8507.
Sarah Palin tells CBN News that if Americans continue to kick God out of society, it will lead to ruin. Palin goes into more detail in her new book called Good Tidings and Great Joy, Protecting the Heart of Christmas. She sat down with CBN's David Brody to discuss the book and how atheists are trying to wipe God out of the picture.
People who would be offended by the holiday that we celebrate, the Prince of Peace, because it is called Christmas, is because the name Christ is in the title, that they would be offended. So that tells you that this war on Christmas is really the tip of the spear when it comes to a greater battle that's brewing. And that battle that's brewing is those who would want to take God out of our society, out of our culture, which will lead to ruin, as history has proven. Any country, any government, society that has kicked God out of the public square completely, it leads to ruin. Why would we go down that path when we know what would happen?
You can see more of David's interview with Sarah Palin at his blog, The Brody File, and you can find that at cbnnews.com.
Charles Krauthammer is one of the most famous political analysts in America, known to millions of TV viewers as an insightful commentator on Fox News. In his new book, Things That Matter, he gives his observations on everything from politics to pop culture. Recently on the 700 Club, CBN founder Pat Robertson spoke with him about the disastrous impact of Obamacare.
Now we're talking about 52 million people may lose their health insurance. This is a monstrous thing that has been imposed on the people. How do you suppose the Democrats got that thing through Congress? They didn't have any Republican support at all.
As Nancy Pelosi said, we have to pass it to know what's in it. The vast majority had no idea what was in it. It was written, it's hundreds and hundreds of pages. The regulations are now up to 20,000 pages. They had the vague idea we're going to sort of help the uninsured, but as you said earlier, instead of specifically going after the uninsured and trying to get a program that look after them, the instinct of these social planners was to completely redo, completely reorganize 1/6 of the American economy. I mean, imagine, Pat, the hubris in thinking that you can get a bunch of experts in Washington who will be able to write the regulations that will harmoniously revolutionize this very, very delicate and complicated ecosystem called medicine. I used to be a physician. I worked at the Mass General Hospital as a resident and chief resident. And there are so many unintended consequences of this bill that are all going to intersect. And we are now seeing just the very beginning with the cancellation of the insurance of millions of Americans who like what they had and were promised solemnly by the president that that would remain undisturbed.
That essentially was a lie. Do you think he's low? I mean, he's down on the poll, but do you think this makes some status of his future the rest of this term? I mean, has he lost all credibility with the American people?
I think he has. I mean, I write in the book, there are a lot of columns on the beginning of his presidency where it was clear that he was going to be sort of the most radical social president, you know, in terms of his social program that we've had in at least 70 years. And the problem is, Pat, you cannot govern a country that is only 20% liberal from the hard left position. You cannot govern a country that's 80% non-liberal. He could for 2 years when they had the temporary majority, but now the chickens are coming home to roost and Americans are turning against that kind of central planning, that kind of political arrogance.
Charles Krauthammer's new book is called Things That Matter, and it's available wherever books are sold.
Up next, a father is snatched away by the North Korean police and then executed. Here is crime in our exclusive story just ahead.
Attention sleep apnea patients. Are you tired of the expense and hassle of getting your CPAP and BiPAP supplies? Are you fed up with dealing with ill-fitting, leaking, or worn-out masks and straps? Are you worried about the effects that unsanitary tubes, cushions, and filters have on your health? If you said yes to any of these questions, Allied Medical Supply Network has the solution to your problems. You could qualify to have your supplies regularly delivered right to your door at little or no cost to you. That's right, no more inconvenience, no worn-out masks and straps, no more unsanitary equipment, just restful sleep. Call Allied Medical Supply Network today to determine if you may qualify to receive your fresh, brand-name supplies at little or no cost. Don't delay. Call us now to see if you are eligible to save money on regular delivery of your CPAP and BiPAP supplies. Call 1-800-815-9947. That's 1-800-815-9947. Or go to cpapsupplyhelpline.com.
Announcing an important breakthrough in healthcare that can benefit everyone. If you or anyone you love needs affordable health insurance, regardless of a pre-existing medical condition, call Quick Insurance 123 today and get the immediate relief you deserve. Quick Insurance 123 was created to provide affordable health insurance to all uninsured Americans, with or without pre-existing conditions. This is not a discount card. This is a real insurance program that lets you choose from many affordable health plans, with access to doctors, hospitals, emergency services, and more. So call the number on your screen now and get the health coverage you need just for calling. As a special bonus, we'll send you a free prescription savings card that could save you up to 85% on your prescriptions. That's right, you could save up to 85% on your prescriptions just for calling. Call Quick Insurance 123 to find out how you can get affordable health insurance and receive your free prescription savings card just for calling. Don't wait. Getting a free quote is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Call today.
The Central Asian nation of Uzbekistan booted 3 American Christians out of the country this week. The Russian news agency Interfax reports an Uzbek court ordered them deported for missionary activity. The Baptist workers are said to have entered the country from neighboring Kyrgyzstan. Authorities reportedly seized DVDs from their hotel rooms. Missionary activity is banned in the mostly Muslim nation.
North Korea has executed 80 people by firing squad for crimes like watching South Korean TV programs or owning a Bible. That is a report from a South Korean newspaper picked up by the London Telegraph. The story says the executions were held in 7 cities earlier this month. In one place, the local government gathered up to 10,000 people, including children, and forced them to watch. Relatives and friends of the victims reportedly were sent to prison camps.
Well, North Korea is a brutal dictatorship and few people ever escape to freedom.
Indeed, but you are about to meet one woman who made it out. She was part of North Korea's secret underground church. George Thomas traveled to Seoul, South Korea to meet her.
Her name is Kim Yoo-jin, age 31. She was born in Pyongyang, North Korea. Kim's testimony is rare considering the numbers on North Korea. The CIA estimates that some 24 million people live in the communist country, and the best guess is about 2%, or 480,000, are Christians. Just a handful of them have escaped from the brutal regime and lived to tell their story. Kim Yoo-jin is one of them.
Growing up, I was told by the authorities that there was no God in this world. We were ordered instead to worship Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, the leaders of the country.
Freedom of religion is guaranteed under North Korea's constitution, but it's never encouraged. What was it like being a believer in North Korea?
We met every Saturday evening. My family gathered in the back room of our small apartment. We had to be very quiet. We whispered when we prayed, sang songs, or read the Bible. We often covered our heads to muffle the noise.
Growing up, she heard stories of how her city, Pyongyang, was once known as the Jerusalem of the East. In 1945, 13% of the population was Christian. The city was the center of Christianity on the Korean peninsula. Half a century later, Kim's faith made her a target.
My parents often asked me to stay outside the apartment on Saturdays to make sure no one was coming while the family prayed inside. We couldn't allow anyone to know what was going on.
Over time, the meetings grew to include a few friends and extended family.
We had one Bible in the house. My grandmother, who was a believer from the Japanese imperial times, had a Chinese Bible. She translated the Bible by hand into the Korean language on pieces of paper. That's how we read the Bible. We found strength in those pages.
But soon the authorities discovered that her father was a secret believer.
My father was a tailor in town, and the police suspected something was going on. We believed they planted listening devices in his shop and on his clothes.
In 1994, the authorities discovered that Miss Kim's father was operating an underground church in North Korea. So they raided the home, arrested him along with an uncle. Both men probably ended up in one of the 6 labor camps in North Korea. Do you remember that day?
The day my father was arrested, I was at school, but I'll never forget that day. He hugged me before I left for school, and like every other day, he reminded me to be careful. Every morning at the breakfast table, he would tell us that one day the government will come and arrest us for being Christians. He warned us of the price we would someday pay for our faith. I remember him saying often that even if I face death, I will follow Jesus.
Some 200,000 prisoners are being held in political prison camps in North Korea. An estimated 30,000 of them are Christians. The regime is routinely cited for human rights violations. Won Jae-chun is a professor of law in South Korea.
They were treated as a criminals, and especially like a terrorist, and they are prosecuted based on national security crime of North Korea.
This video, obtained by CBN News, reportedly shows the execution of North Korean Christians. Do you think that your father is alive today?
No. Everyone knows what happens when government agents arrest Christians in North Korea. They never make it out alive. I know my father is in heaven. And he's praying for North Korea and my family.
Kim's mother, grandmother, and siblings managed to escape that day to the mountains. In 2005, with the help of a Chinese pastor, she crossed the Tumen River and defected to China. Her family followed months later.
It was a difficult decision. I knew that if I got caught, I'd be arrested and sent to a prison camp. But my family defected because we were being persecuted in North Korea for our faith.
Today, she's married and has a baby boy.
I am very proud of what she did. Her family has gone through a lot over the years. She's a hero in my eyes.
Kim is quick to brush aside those compliments, instead giving honor to the man who laid down his life.
I grew up in a land where they said there was no God. But my father told me otherwise. He loved Christ, and for that, he died.
She has a dream to one day go back to Pyongyang and share about this love with the people of North Korea. George Thomas, CBN News, Seoul, South Korea.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Grace, music is unpredictable.
I know I have what it takes.
The Dove Foundation raves. Grace Unplugged is remarkable and inspiring.
This is not about the music. It's about everything else that goes with it.
Dad, were you watching me?
A moving and meaningful film.
This book, his words shook me. It was like my whole world.
That parents and teens should see together, says Focus on the Family.
What are you gonna do? You're gonna drag her back home?
Yeah, I might. I think maybe you're fighting God. Just stop running.
Grace Unplugged, rated PG, now playing.
Finally, a taxi driver in New York City is using his job as an opportunity to minister to the people of New York.
Joseph Dion drives a cab around the Big Apple, but he's also an evangelical pastor. He plays Christian hip-hop while driving and says the music is what usually gets the conversation started with his passengers.
About 80% of the people love the message. You know, and once in a while you come across people that don't want to hear nothing, but you just can pray for them.
The pastor says taxi driving is just a side job. When he is not behind the wheel, he is studying for a master's degree in theology.
That's my kind of taxi driver right there.
Every opportunity
Christian
to
hip-hop.
witness. You got it.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
That's going to do it for now on CBN News Today. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com.
Take the time to tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook or at CBN News on Twitter. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. Make it a wonderful Wednesday, everybody.
If you had a choice between going bald and a full head of hair, which would you choose? Advances in medical science have resulted in the world's first and only permanent solution to hair loss.
Yes!
You wash it, you cut it. It's your own real, naturally growing hair. When it comes to hair restoration, no one in the world has more experience than Bosley. The results look completely natural and are affordable on nearly any budget. But the entire process can't be explained in 60 brief seconds. So to find out more about this clinically proven and permanent solution to hair loss, call now to receive your free no-obligation information kit. It'll answer all of your questions about hair loss and hair restoration. Plus, we'll also send you this $250 gift certificate just for calling. Every day you wait, you're losing more hair. So don't put it off any longer. You owe it to yourself to find out the facts. Choose hair. Choose Bosley.
Call 800-868-9957. That's 800-868-9957.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.